Welcome back. The first post-primary head-to-head in the Marquette Law School poll receiving a lot of attention this weekend. In the race for U.S. Senate, that 7-point spread between Democratic Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes and Republican Senator Ron Johnson. Barnes with that post-primary lead. Senator Johnson, though, in this spot before as well. Charles Franklin is the director of the Marquette Law School poll. He joins us now from Madison. Hey, Charles, good to see you.
Good to be here.
Let's begin with the Senate race. What do we make of this lead for Mandela Barnes?
Yeah, it's interesting. It was a 2-point Barnes lead in June and a 7-point now. So it looks like a post-primary bounce for Barnes of about 5 points, tightening that race. And as you say, Senator Johnson has been in this position before. He was the dark horse in 2010 before he came on to beat Senator Russ Feingold, and then he was behind Feingold in 2016 and came back to win. So at the very least, this is familiar territory to Senator Johnson.
Let's look at partisan affiliation as you break this down by party ID. There is huge party loyalty, as to be expected in the poll. There's a 14-point lead for Barnes, though, among independents. As you look into the numbers and look at other factors, what do we make of this at this point in the race?
Well, I think the first thing is the parties are completely unified. Now, the Democratic Senate race ended with people dropping out and endorsing Barnes. So I think that may be part of the party unity you're seeing there on the Democratic side, and Republicans were solidly behind Johnson as the incumbent. It is interesting, though, that independents are leaning pretty heavily to Barnes at this point, though they were not leaning that heavily towards him in June. So again, I think the post-primary bounce has been a real benefit to Barnes and didn't move Johnson's numbers much at all. Whether that sustains itself is a wide open question, because independents do shift over the course of campaigns as each side gets its arguments out.
And at the same time, there are fewer people who have a strong opinion of Barnes than do Senator Ron Johnson. So, I mean, is this going to be a moment in the coming weeks of looking to define both campaigns, looking to define Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes?
I think that's exactly right. 41% said they didn't know enough about Barnes to say if they were favorable or unfavorable. That number was just 15% for Senator Johnson. So and Barnes is seen very positively by those who have an opinion of him, but that struggle to define him to the other 41% that don't know him well yet, that's a lot of this fall's campaign.
Let's look to the Senate race. A toss-up, Governor Evers 45, Tim Michels 43, the independent candidate getting 7%. First, is that 7% surprising to you at all? And what do we make of this close race between Evers and Michels?
Sure. The independents do well early in the race. We'll see whether they sustain that 7% or not. It does go down to 4% when we narrow the scope to likely voters as opposed to all registered voters. So let's just see what happens there. What we see here, interestingly, is Evers had a 7-point lead in June that got cut to a 2-point lead now. That's the same 5-point tightening of the race, but in favor of the challenger Michels. So the tightening that we see post-primary is benefiting both of the primary winners. The Republican Michels benefits and the Democrat Barnes benefits.
There is a long road ahead, more polls to come before November. Charles Franklin, director of the Marquette Law School poll. Charles, thank you like always.
Thank you.
Up next, a fair jump.